One of our firm's core values, really the core value, is happiness matters, which I think isn't necessarily what you expect to hear from a family law firm, but it really is all that matters. And at the end of the day, we are divorce attorneys, but what we are selling, what we are working towards, what we are striving for is our client's future happiness. I say future because typically going through a divorce, there's a lack of happiness. That's why you call us in the first place. But the whole point of the whole thing, everything we do here is because we believe that happiness matters. What that means for us, it means that we care about our clients' futures and their future happiness. That's what we're working towards every single day. Internally, we care about each other's happiness, our colleagues, our peers, because what else matters in the world? If that's not what we're trying to achieve, if that's not what we're doing, then for me, it feels like we should figure out something else to do. It sounds maybe trite, but it is woven into every conversation and every meeting, every mission, everything we talk about here at Freed Marcroft. Happiness matters internally here at Freed Marcroft, and more importantly, our clients' happiness matters. And that's the work that we do every single day, all day long, 5 days a week. We're thinking about how we can move people towards a future of happiness, and so that hopefully they don't need to ever call us again. People often ask, what is the most challenging part of divorce? I don't think it's any one thing. I think at the end of the day, it's just, realistically, it's not something people ever imagine for their lives or hope for their lives. Certainly when you get married, you're not thinking about one day this will end. It's really difficult to come to terms with what can feel like a failure. And I think that's probably the most challenging piece of it, because you don't have to get divorced. It's a choice that you make for yourself, for your family, for your future. And from my perspective, it's about the bravest choice a person can make, but it's a really hard choice to make, because you could just stay. But at the end of the day, you're choosing your own happiness, which can only trickle down to everything else in your life, including your children's lives. It's hard to let something go that for many people, they spent years working on and trying to fix and trying to make better. And so again, it can feel like a failure. From our perspective, a relationship that started with love, there was love there, and if it didn't make it to the finish line, that's okay. That doesn't mean it's a failure. It just is what it is, and there's nothing wrong with calling it what that is and moving on to something that makes you happy, because why are we here if not that? But I think that's probably the most challenging piece, just admitting that something you tried really hard at didn't work and deciding that you need to let it go so that you can find something that does. A lot of people ask about communication in the context of an attorney-client relationship. From our perspective, I don't think there's anything more important than communication. Certainly you should expect your attorney, whether it's a family law attorney or anytime you need an attorney, to be not just educated, but current and know what's going on with the law in their practice area. And we are very committed to staying current with changing statutes and case law in Connecticut. But at the end of the day, that's really just the bare minimum. And what we and in my opinion, all attorneys need to be good at, need to be great at, is communicating with their clients. Not just knowing the law, not just knowing what potential outcomes may be, but communicating all of those steps along the way to our clients, because they don't know. They, in most cases, have never done this before, and even if they have, it's different this time. Their facts have changed, the law may have changed. If we forget to keep our clients informed about what's going on, not just in the present in terms of their divorce, but what's coming down the road, what can they expect, whether it's specific to a hearing that might be coming up, or just sort of generally a timeline, and that there are, points during the process that can feel like nothing is happening. It can be very frustrating. We can't mitigate all the factors in a divorce that we can't control. Things like it takes longer than people like it to take, but we can tell you the truth about that, so that when we get to the middle and it feels like it's taking a long time, you're still going to be frustrated, but at least you won't feel blindsided. And from my perspective, if you ever feel blindsided in the context of a divorce, somebody failed to communicate something to you. It might not be your lawyer, but often I think it is. And so I don't think there's anything more important than an attorney, and in particularly a divorce attorney, can do than commit to very effective and very frequent communication with their clients, so that their clients don't ever feel in the dark about what's going on, and in most cases, the most important thing in their life at that moment. People often ask why Freed Marcroft only works with family law cases. And the truth is that when this firm was born over a decade ago, we had multiple practice areas, as most law firms do starting out, because you haven't figured out what you're maybe best at, or what you really want to do, and also you need to keep the lights on. It became very clear to us here at Freed Marcroft early on that we wanted to concentrate on divorce and family law for the simple reason that we really enjoy working with people. We are not transactional personalities in this firm. We like working directly with people and feeling like we are directly affecting our clients' lives, and often getting to see the outcome down the road. And we reach back out to clients and check in and hear, in more cases than not, that they are in better places than they were when they were going through the thing that they hired us to help with. And that's just extremely rewarding. And when we're getting to a place where we knew we wanted to narrow our practice area, we didn't have to even really think about it. We knew what we wanted to do. We wanted to work with people and families, and for better or for worse, because it can be very challenging too, because there's so many ups and downs. But it's just so rewarding to see how people over and over again just make really brave choices about their own happiness and their own futures, and work towards these just incredible transformations. It's just, I can't think of more rewarding work than being able to be in a position where you can help a human being transform their lives and try to get to a place of happiness, which means letting go of comfort and having the courage to make really tough decisions and standing for their own goals, their own futures, their own happiness. I just can't think of anything more rewarding than that. When a new client comes into Freed Marcroft, I think one of the first things that we want them to know about our firm is that we are committed to telling them the truth, which means that they're often going to hear things that they might not want to hear. That isn't what they hoped would be a potential outcome or a reality. It's our job to tell the truth. It's not our job to be liked. It's not our job to be loved. It's not our job to be friends with our clients. I mean, in a perfect world, we get to be those things too, but our jobs are to tell the truth. And I think more than anything, that's what I would want a brand new client to know, because that's how we move forward. That's how we, in most cases, reach agreements, because when you commit to telling the truth, you create trust. If I tell you something that you don't want to hear, knowing that you're going to be upset with me in that moment, but you know that I had the courage to tell you that, then when it comes time to tell you something else, you trust me. When it's good, bad, or ugly, you trust me because I committed to telling you the truth, and you're not wondering if I just need you to like me. I think that's the most important thing in the relationship with a new client, is just they're knowing that they're going to hear things along the way that probably isn't what they want to hear, but what they can trust is that's the truth. And then they can trust us when they need to make really hard and lasting decisions for themselves, their families, and their futures. As the owners and founders of Freed Marcroft, Megan and I both believe that it's incredibly important to have a staff and a team of people and professionals that are as committed to our core values as we are. If we don't do that, then none of this is going to work. Everything that we say we are, we just fundamentally won't be. We attract the clients that we want to work with, that want to work with us, and done best, we attract the type of professional human beings that want to work with us and who really stand for the values that we work towards every single day here, both for themselves and their clients. Because if they're doing that and we're all pulling in the same direction, then even if there are bumps along the way, we're going to arrive at the destination we set out, which is, yes, happiness matters. And that means, again, internally, it means working towards fulfilling the lives of our team, because if they're working towards their own personal professional goals, that's going to show up in their relationship with our clients. And if our clients are working towards their own personal goals and their divorce and their futures, then it's all of us pulling in the same direction. And when that happens, that's how you get where you're going. If you have a team of people that aren't aligned with the values that the founders set out to create in whatever kind of business they're building, then you're not going to get to the destination that you said you were going at, and that's going to show up in the outcomes for your clients. And then what's the point of any of this? So in terms of building a team that's aligned with our values, with this firm's values, it's absolutely critical. It's a deal breaker, and I think that we've done a very good job of that. I'm extremely proud of the team that we've built here at Freed Marcroft, and I know that they all get up every morning and do really hard work because they are committed to standing for the values at Freed Marcroft for themselves and, more importantly, for our clients. The first step when a new client comes to us at Freed Marcroft is what we call a goals and planning conference. It's a little bit different from what I think a lot of law firms do, in that meeting is not meant to be a strategy meeting about here's what we're going to do, here's the motion this, and here's sort of the legal landscape of your divorce. It's really what it's called. It's a goals and planning conference, and the purpose of it is to take time to get to know you as a client. And while you may have facts that are similar to somebody else who's going through the same thing that you are, that doesn't mean how you see those facts is the same. And it certainly doesn't mean that you have the same idea of what you want your futures to look like on the other side of your divorce. So the purpose of the Goals and Planning Conference is to really take the time to get to know you as a person, what's going on with you now, how you got here, and most importantly, what you want your future to look like, so that when it comes time to design a legal strategy for your divorce, we have your goals in mind. So we're pulling in the same direction towards your goals, the future you want, and not something from a textbook or a fact pattern. Lawyers are very good at strategizing. I don't think there are any lawyers better than ours at doing this in the context of divorce, but it's important before we get there that the strategy, the legal strategy that we're setting out, is a reflection of what you as a human being want for your future. That's why we start with a goals and planning conference before we move on to the actual strategy session, which is where we begin designing the legal strategy for your divorce. If we skip that step, we would move off in a direction that may or may not be aligned with what you want for your future. And if we're not working towards the future that you articulate for yourself, then you're going to wind up very unhappy, both with the process and certainly with the outcome. If you're somebody who's thinking about divorce, or if you already know that you want to get a divorce, or if you just have some questions about divorce, please do not hesitate to pick up the phone and call us at Freed Marcroft. We're here to help.